Hi everyone, welcome to Rise Up, advocating for girls around the world, Google Plus Hangout. I'm Sophia Stafford, a Girl Up teen advisor and also a student at the Hewitt School, an all-girls school here in New York City. I also am so excited to be the host of today's conversation. Several of us have just come from a wonderful United Nations Foundation event during the 57th Commission on the Status of Women, which starts today and runs through March 15th. The event highlighted the United Nations, girls' experiences, girls' voices, and really provided an opportunity for girls to speak to NGO partners and UN leaders interested in youth issues specifically for girls. We're also lucky to see a clip of Girl Rising, which tells the story of 10 different girls from 10 different countries and the potential of girls' education to create change in the world. It was really powerful, and I'm so excited to keep talking about this and to ask all of the participants some questions. Today we're going to discuss these issues around girls around the world and also what kinds of tools, especially social media and technology, that girls and champions are using around the world to overcome these obstacles. But before we get started, we have some breaking news. I want to take a moment to celebrate the big U.S.-based advocacy victory for girls. Last week, the U.S. Congress passed the Violence Against Women Reauthorization Act of 2013. In addition to ensuring that all victims of sexual assault and domestic violence are protected, after President Obama signs this bill into law, child marriage will become a foreign policy priority. Yay! It will also be the policy of the United States to protect girls by preventing child marriage in developing countries. This happened with the support of lobbying efforts from girls around the U.S. The Girl Up campaign mobilized all of its supporters and collected more than 16,000 signatures on a petition to end child marriage. In 2010, Girl Up teen advisors delivered the petition and its signatures to the White House. I, for one, am very proud to be part of this campaign, and I'm so excited that my government is going to take a stand for girls everywhere. Now, let's begin and hear from our wonderful participants to learn more about the advocacy work that they're doing. So first, would all of you introduce yourselves and also say your name, your hometown, and the organization that you are representing. So we can start with Marcela.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marcela from El Salvador. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
So, I'm Marcela. I'm from El Salvador, and I am 18 years old. I'm the ambassador of the girls of El Salvador in the framework of the campaign because I am a girl of Plan International. I guess you already heard about this a little bit. Well, I'm participating in many programs in El Salvador in order to reduce violence, to reduce early pregnancy, and of course to get more girls in education, to access to education. Okay, so I'm so happy to be here and talk to you and share with you what we think as Salvadoran girls about our issues. Okay.
Thank you so much. Timothea, do you want to continue?
Hi everyone, I'm Chamakta Fernando. I'm from Sri Lanka and I'm representing the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. I'm here for the CSW representing our Stop the Violence campaign and to introduce that I've been working through a lot of projects with the Stop the Violence campaign in my country with the Sri Lanka Girl Guides Association. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Didi, would you like to continue?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Didi Bathurm. I'm the Director of Marketing and Digital Strategy for the 10x10 campaign and for the film Girl Rising. My hometown is Portland, Oregon, but I'm here in New York City. I'm very happy to be here to talk to you about our upcoming film launch this week.
Joanny? Is Joanny on with us?
I don't think she's on yet.
Okay, we'll skip to Denise.
Okay, great. So my name is Denise Dunning, and I direct the Adolescent Girls Advocacy and Leadership Initiative. I'm based here in the Bay Area in Oakland, California, and our work focuses on improving girls' health, education, livelihoods, and human rights by working with leaders in a few countries in Africa and Latin America to improve policies and laws for girls.
Great, thank you. Is Joanny on?
Oh yeah, there she is.
Joanny, would you like to introduce yourself? Well, while she gets settled in, we can skip to Marcella. So, Marcella, first question's for you. And I was wondering, we just learned how Girl Rising is really promoting education as a game changer for girls and women everywhere. And so, I'm wondering about the experience that you've had in your country and in your community, and if you or girls you know have had trouble finishing primary school or secondary school. If you tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so one of the reasons in El Salvador about why girls drop out of school is because of early pregnancy. So that's like a big barrier for girls to get into education. Uh, in addition, that parents and our culture doesn't teach boys to be like responsible fathers. So girls have to be young, single mothers, and for that reason they drop out for school from school. There, also poverty, economic issues. They are some of them. Um, there's also, you know, last year we, uh, well, not we, the government approved political on reproductive and sexual rights, and that politic is asking to the education minister to introduce sexual and reproductive topics and educational programs in El Salvador. But many schools are not following that politic. So even when we have laws, even when we have like politics, we don't have like enough access to sexual and reproductive information. So that's one of the reasons why girls are dropping out of school. And there's also another problem. I visited like one high school in Manhattan, and they had just like 15 students for each class, and I got like very surprised because in El Salvador for each class has like 60 students, so it doesn't contribute to make the learning process like so productive. You can get distracted, and the classrooms are not like too big for students, so that affects for us to not to have like quality education.
Right. Of course. Thank you. Chamathia, what about you?
Yeah, to start off with Sri Lanka, I think I should say at first that both our girls and boys have the opportunity to educate themselves because we have a free education system. But I think we have in our syllabuses we have health and physical education. But because of our cultural situation, teachers are very reluctant to kind of the word itself, the sex is kind of they're very reluctant to use it to teach the students. And because of that, I think since I'm involved with guiding and through our Stop the Violence campaign, we promote the non-formal education where we have like poster campaigns, essay competitions, and then we had a march. So we had leaflets, brochures, and things like that to make awareness among the public as well as among girls to protect themselves from abuse and violence. And also, we wanted everyone to speak out, saying we need to stop violence against girls. And I think education plays a very major role in stopping violence against girls, especially. It is important that we have to speak out, say because who else will speak? I mean, girls definitely have to play a very major role. So we through girl guiding in Sri Lanka, we make the girls themselves do projects and like make bookmarks and leaflets and like distribute among their friends and kind of being we want people to be aware that there is an issue going around and we need to take the right actions and speak out to say we need to stop violence and to take the right decisions by taking legal action. And in Sri Lanka, the other issue is that we don't have enough support services. So we have to educate our girls how to protect themselves from such violent activities. And also because girls, especially not in the urban areas but in the rural areas, we see that girls have to walk long distances to school. So while they are walking, they tend to face a lot of violence, like sometimes girls get raped and things like that. So I think through education, especially the non-formal education, we go out to the rural areas, we educate girls, we have workshops, seminars, things like that to make awareness among them.
Great, thank you. So as we've seen, education is very important. So this next question is for Dee Dee. We know that, of course, 10 by 10 agrees that education is a very important topic for everyone and especially for girls around the world. And so I'm wondering why, if you could tell us a little bit about why 10 by 10 chose to focus so much on girls' education and a little bit of that model.
Sure. So I think what came first was just the startling revelation that is, the value of educating girls. And I think, about 5 years ago, when the director of the film, Richard Robbins, had started doing research, there had been a lot of powerful statistics that had just been released about the value of educating a girl. Stats like educated mothers are 50% more likely to immunize their children. HIV rates declining, things like an extra year of education can potentially help, a woman earn up to 20% more as an adult. All these things were kind of being put in the mix. And, I think when you find something that all the experts in the field are talking about, but it's not a common conversation with the larger public, that's an opportunity to tell a story. And here at 10 times 10, the filmmakers and the folks that began the campaign, I guess about 4 years ago, their heart is in storytelling. A lot of them are ABC news journalists. So, they figured out that if they were going to be telling the story, they started thinking what would be the best way to bring impact and ultimately have this awareness come to be something. So that's when we began partnering with folks like the UN Foundation and some of our partners like Intel, so we could build out this framework that ultimately would allow these stories to actually become impactful.
Thank you, and it's such a great model, really, the combination of combining filmmaking and media outlets and partnering. And so I'm wondering if you could just expand a little bit on that and talk about why this model is really useful in creating global impact.
Sure. So just a little bit about the campaign. So 10 times 10 is actually the global campaign, and at the centerpiece is this film, Girl Rising, which is releasing here on March 7th all over the U.S., and each chapter of the film really followed a unique creative process. So first we established partnerships with NGOs and with organizations like Plan and the United Nations Foundation. And they traveled with us and they helped us to not only meet and talk to dozens of girls in the countries that we focus on in the film, but they also, really introduced us to a lot of these barriers to education that these girls were facing. So partnering with them allowed us to really truly find those stories and also know that those girls that were in the stories, were in these programs that were actually having impact on the ground. So, those partnerships together, I think, we leave the storytelling to ourselves, and then we leave the actual work in the field to the experts, like our organizations are so good at doing. And then really, truly, to bring that to scale, we partner with some phenomenal partners, Intel Corporation, Vulcan Productions, to help to build the film and to build the campaign and have that marketing engine behind the release of the campaign, so that we could ultimately, truly reach as many people as possible as we try to change minds and try to get this awareness that is the value of educating a girl.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I definitely realized the power of storytelling when I saw a couple of clips, and I'm so excited to see the feature-length film this week. Joannie, I don't think we got a chance to for you to introduce yourself, but will you introduce yourself and then also tell the audience what you see as the biggest challenge facing girls around the country and in your community, and what are you doing to overcome it? I think you might be on mute. I don't know. I think.
Yeah, seems like it's maybe on mute.
Yeah. Do you wanna?
We can't hear you now.
Wait, what?
Okay. I don't. We can't hear you, so I think that's the.
Mary, did you say the strawberries?
Yeah, I think you might have to unmute. But while Johnny gets set up there, Denise, if we could go to you, and I know that you direct the Ugali program, which supports on the ground advocates like Johnny. And so, could you tell us a little bit more about the Ugali model and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we got started back in 2009 in partnership with the UN Foundation. And basically what we do is identify leaders in country that are doing really great work already with girls. So girls' education, health, livelihoods, human rights in general. And we work with these leaders to be able to help them identify and develop advocacy strategies so that they can advocate for better laws, policies, and programs that protect and advance the rights of girls. So we're working in Guatemala, Honduras, Malawi, Ethiopia, and Liberia. And the idea really is to change the entire system for girls. So not just continue with our existing models and doing great work, but reaching girls on a small scale, but actually to create system-wide change that has the potential to transform the lives of thousands and thousands of girls in each country and millions of girls around the world. So, we've had some really exciting successes in terms of our fellows being able to get new laws passed that guarantee girls comprehensive protections and ensure their access to education, as well as prevention of child marriage. And we're right now just starting a new focus on economic empowerment within that work as well, because we see that as really important and crucially connected to the education piece. So, hopefully Joannie will be able to come on and talk a little bit more about her direct work, but it's basically a model that is creating system-wide change for girls in these countries on a whole broad range of issues.
Thank you. And Johnny, feel free to jump in when you get a chance. But also, Denise, I was wondering, how do you see these fellows and advocates for girls around the world, how are they using media and technology to change the situation for girls? Any examples of Ugali fellows or girls that you've seen use social media, if you could share that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've done some really exciting work with our fellows on digital stories. So working with our fellows to really create and capture and tell both their own stories as well as the stories of girls in the communities that they're working in. So some of those stories are actually on our website, which is agaliprogram.org, and that highlights both the successes that they've had in doing this high-level advocacy for girls, as well as the community-based work. So to give you an example, in Malawi, our fellows are doing great work where they're working with chiefs in villages and getting those chiefs to pass community bylaws so that if a man marries a girl who's under the legal age of marriage, his land is taken away from him and he has to make a payment of 4 goats. So these very community-based advocacy initiatives, all the way from that up to this national policy advocacy to increase the legal age of marriage from 15 to 18. And so we've integrated video and storytelling in many aspects of that. So our partner that I mentioned that's doing this community-based work, Genet, which is the Girls Empowerment Network, has done really great work of actually engaging girls in this process of telling their own stories, both through digital media, but also through, some of the more basic mechanisms of, writing contests and other avenues and strategies to share those stories that really engage girls directly in the advocacy process, so that it's not just, leaders who are doing this great work advocating for girls, but engaging girls to become advocates who are leaders and who are speaking their own truth and raising their own voices to create their own change that they see needs to happen.
Great, thank you so much. So Didi, Giovanni, and Denise, you're all doing outstanding work on behalf of girls everywhere, and we're so lucky to have you as our champions. I'm wondering if you have any advice for other girls or teens who want to become champions and want to get involved, and maybe some things that they can do, or just advice that you want to give them.
Sure. I can go first.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Okay. I guess first just know that if you're interested in becoming a champion for girls, I think you're in the right place and there's no better time. I think just the momentum is so high right now. And so, I think regardless of what you're interested in doing, regardless of what you're good at, first, and understanding what you do love to do first is very crucial. But what you do love to do, I think there's a place for you to share that and to become part of this movement. I think from what I've learned from being a part of the 10 times 10 campaign in the last year is that, there are so many organizations, wonderful organizations, as well as corporations that are getting in the mix and that are trying to make an impact and make this awareness to the value of educating a girl become so mainstream. So I say first, figure out what you love to do, and second, just start searching. I imagine you'll probably come upon something fairly quickly.
Thank you.
I would like
Johnny or Denise, would you like to jump in before we go to Marcella and Chamithia?
Okay. Sure. Joanny, do you want to try, see if your voice is working? Oh, it sounds like her sound still isn't working.
Okay. We'll go with you.
I guess I can speak to that then briefly. I agree with Didi. I feel like there's a tremendous movement right now in terms of creating change for girls and in terms of the global community recognizing both the needs of girls as well as the tremendous opportunities of investing in girls and what that can mean both for those individual girls, for their families, for their communities, and for their countries. So I do feel like it's a great time and space to be able to jump into this movement. And I think there are a lot of really exciting ways to do that. Some, very locally close to home, but also these broader global movements that you can support the work. So, 10 by 10 is a great example. I think our work in Agali on our website, you can check it out at agaliprogram.org, has all kinds of different ways that both young people as well as leaders in their fields can really contribute to pushing these efforts forward. So I think it just kind of, like Dee said, it depends on what your interest is, but really figuring that out and then deciding kind of how you want to champion the talent that you have and use that to benefit girls around the world.
Great, thank you. And Chamithia and Marcella, do you want to jump in and say what advice you might give? Because I know sometimes, being a teen, there's people who always say, oh, we can't really make a difference, we can't really have an impact. And so, I think that there's lots of different ways to be a difference maker, especially for girls. And I'm wondering what advice you can give, and maybe what people could be involved in as well.
I really think that investing in girls is really, really important. Maybe we are champions, but because someone has invested in us. I mean, outside there are many other girls who has maybe more potential than us, but they are waiting still for someone to invest in them. So it's really important that people and decision makers include us always when they are creating laws, when they are creating politics, and when they are creating budgets and investing us. Because if they don't invest in us, I mean, this is not going to be like a better place to live for us, for girls, and we are going to be always excluded for the processes, and we are not going to have the important roles that we should have in the society. So that's what I think is investment is very, very, very important. Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. And I think that girls definitely can make an impact. And to those who say that girls cannot make an impact, I think all the girls around the world should get together and do whatever they can, speak out and say that we can stop the violence and work towards it. Because I think girls have so much of potential, especially in Sri Lanka. I see girls having so much of talent, potential. It's just that they don't get the chance to show themselves up, and they don't get the opportunity. And also there are certain restrictions because of our culture. People have different attitudes and things like that, restricts the girls from coming up and speaking out. And also, like, for example, now when I was selected from WAGS to come here and represent CSW, I wanted some media opportunities, like to publish articles and things like that. But because they don't kind of pay attention to you, unless otherwise you have some influence or you can pay big amounts for that. So it's a very, very pathetic situation. But I think overall, girls can definitely make an impact. And also, for everyone around, I would say, just have the determination, courage, and confidence. All the girls, everyone can make a difference in the world. And we definitely have to work to stop the violence against girls.
Thank you. I think that's great advice. And I would also add, I think that sometimes people think that, being a difference maker or making change has to be on a really large scale, but it can really start with the individual and just, living lives of consequence and modeling what you hope the change to see in the world is. And so I think that, we all girls and all youth really can start with themselves and by spreading the message in this meeting. And I think that all of you provided some great advice for girls who hope to be champions.